Welcome to people's here. Here's another episode of my reaction. I am your host, Full Circle 420. Now, this reaction is for the Poor Man's podcast. I already did a reaction to this, but I'm going to do a reaction on myself. This is people. These people they call themselves African Millennials, and the topic of this story is mandatory DNA testing for all kids, right then and there, as soon as the child gets birth. Me personally, I tell you what, I will research to this. I'm gonna react to this video, and then I'm gonna do my own little commentaries myself. Doing the videos. You know how, like I said, you know how YouTube is. You gotta talk into it, otherwise you get hit with a copyright infringement or some bullshit like that. So I'm gonna talk through it. You know what I'm saying, as I'm going and watching in this video. So here is the African Millennials. Topic of the day is mandatory DNA testing. Watching, like I said, I'm gonna talk through it and also get my computation at the end of it.
If it's not mine, I'm walking away. That's it. That's it. Nothing else to talk about. If you're just talking about what I'm gonna do, I don't know what they gonna do, but I'm out.
Hold up, pause. First of all, women take care of children that aren't theirs all the fucking time and don't make a big ass deal about it. No, pause. This is not.
Alright, you can see this about to be good. Oh, she's cute though. She cute though. Yes! Yes! Damn it! Yes! Hell yes! That's all I'm gonna say. Yes! Hell yes! Yes! Yes!
Welcome back, everyone, to the next episode of the African Millennials. Hey, y'all. How's everybody feeling?
No, you just missed me. Good.
Wow.
I'm the only one here that gonna be missing.
Speaking of missing, one people try to compete for love. It's not competing when you woke up with it.
Wow.
Anyways,
amen to the Heavenly Father.
Amen.
So now that we're here, the energy is perfect. I would like for Shabbat.
Okay, so far so good. They're making the introductions, and so far so good. But just wait. There's always something.
To take us into the topic today.
Yeah, I
Do you
think
mind?
we need to have the love feud over here.
There's no love feud.
It's a lot of things going on. Dear AMS, what's your stand on mandatory DNA testing for kids? Lately, I've been very paranoid about unknowingly taking care of another man's child and then finding out years later, ... Man's not Santa?
Man's not Santa. I think there's a language. Think there's something wrong with the translation. I think they said that it's not mine, but I could be wrong. That's actually a pretty good question. Mandatory DNA testing for children. I think that's a good topic to have. And to be honest with you, I don't know, but let's just see.
That's what he said.
I respect it.
Who is this man? He said man's not Santa.
That's how he ended the question.
Now, mind you, it's just a question. It's not something that it's gonna be law or anything like that. It's just a question for now, but we can see.
Kofi from Woolwich, UK.
Thank God.
Yo,
he's
we're
not
praying
here.
for you, Kofi.
Thank you,
Oh
Kofi.
my God.
Thank you, Ghana.
We'll pray for you, Kofi. Don't worry.
Nah, Kofi's good. I like
What
the
about-
boy.
Oh wow, that picture.
Oh my goodness.
I
Wow,
believe-
when we talk about representation,
Yeah,
you know
man.
that's what he meant.
I'll start with this. I think that it should be.
You can see the stress in his forehead.
He does.
Yeah,
Yo,
How many kids he holding?
At
That's
least,
a lot.
at
There's
least
babies
7.
behind him,
Exactly.
even.
Yeah.
Like,
The average
there's
number for a
more.
black
Yeah,
man.
pull out.
Wow.
Wow.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, damn.
That's a
Well,
lot.
that's
So that's how many
Yeah,
kids
you need to
Actually,
reframe the way you think about black men. That's not how.
I love my black man.
So you love a black man, but you're saying we're out here with 7 kids.
I want to have 7 kids.
Okay.
Wow. That's very.
Well done.
Make that happen.
So how do y'all feel about the question?
So I feel like you should definitely be. I think that testing needs to be mandatory. It's like people.
Wow.
I agree. Mandatory DNA testing should definitely be a thing. I agree with that 100%.
It should be mandatory because it's like
If you're not
this.
slinging your dick around, then you won't be scared about
Well, it's like this.
who's
It's
pregnant
not
by
always
who.
It's not about us.
You may
though. It's
have a
like this.
partner right before
about the
me.
world.
Exactly.
I think that the United States making DNA testing mandatory is stupid. I don't think that, it's something that if you feel like you need a DNA test, go do that on your own time.
I disagree with that due to the fact of the matter is a lot of people say, hey, let's do a DNA test just to make sure everything's on the up and up. But then you have some men and some women say, well, I don't want to do a DNA test. Well, I need to know for a fact that this child is mine. Plus, it's actually more feminine. It's actually better for you too as well. So I don't understand what the pushback's about.
Because you feel that way. I don't think every person, there's millions of people in the United States. Like, it doesn't make sense that people could be using that time to do other things. Like, you could be.
You mean like be absolutely sure that the child you have is yours? You mean be absolutely 100% positive that that child is yours? And the fact of the matter is, it's actually good for the woman too, because mandatory DNA testing says that, well, this is for a fact. This is an objectable fact that this child is yours. So you cannot say, well, I don't think this child is mine, and they will say, wait a minute, first, okay, so you don't think this child is yours, okay, but according to our DNA test, the probability of paternity is 99.9999999% possibility that it's yours. So, and the margin of error is very so small. That's like 1 out of every trillion people will share DNA. Does not happen. What's not happen because there's not even trillion people on this earth. Hell, there's barely 8 billion people on this earth right now. So the possibility, unless they're an identical twin, unless they're identical twins, the possibility of sharing the DNA with a person who's not an identical twin is an impossibility. Just saying.
Saving a life. You could be in a hospital saving a life.
So it's like.
Well, mandatory DNA testing will actually save lives due to, just in case, well, we know this on shore, but wait a minute, there's a genetic deficiency here that's life-threatening. So we may want to have this mandatory DNA testing to make sure not only is there anything we can do to help this person, or if not, then that would be for the next generation of your children to see which one of us carry that gene, one of us not. It's a no-brainer for me, but I'm just more.
If a woman is claiming you to be the father of the child, you may, let's say you're not with that woman, which that happens a lot, in today's society. There's some doubt that this is probably not my child, but instead of, confronting it on both ends, where I feel like it should just be a mandatory. Don't tell somebody the father of the child, but that there's a doubt, like if you had slept with someone in between.
I mean,
You can
yeah.
Bam. That's exactly what that is. If there's even a sliver of doubt, I say get a man DNA test. Make it mandatory. It's just gonna be another extra $100 bill. I mean, hell, they charge 75 cents. They charge $75 for skin to skin contact after your child is born. So what is that around? What is the extra $100? And if it's mandatory, it's going to be covered by your insurance. Probably as probably as a preventability or something. It's preventative. So I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I just agree with it because some fact of the matter is the positive way off, well, way off the negative. But let's just see what they say.
Avoid the doubt by going by God and getting married and.
But we're talking about real life.
Do that, though.
Okay,
What do you mean real life? Marriage is real life.
All right,
Yeah,
so,
no,
all right,
but like-
all right, Serpentina. Now we're talking about human nature. In real life, what actually happens, you know,
What?
A lot of people have kids
in a practical universe, what actually happens,
Especially in the
mistakes
Western
happen.
I think men have the right to know for sure,
God
but
bless you.
it's definitely
Finally, a sensible woman. These three, but this one is actually actually right. I mean, if there's a doubt, then they should do something to eliminate that doubt. Just saying.
Thank you,
It's
Jerome.
definitely
Thank you, Jerome.
no
Thank you.
problem, guys. No problem, guys.
No, like,
It's
that's not your
insulting, though. I mean, I think men definitely deserve to know it's their right. Just like if a woman's like out there like that, she deserves to know who the father is as well. But I think it's definitely insulting if you're in a relationship and you're married and your partner wants you to have a DNA test.
No, it's more
That-
That just because you with the same woman every day does not necessarily mean you're faithful to that person every single day. I mean, let's be reality. I've seen the most debutante women cheat on their husbands, and I've seen some of the most honest people in religion, whatever, and people who think he's a good guy, but actually I've seen them cheat on their women too. So that don't mean being married and being so-called faithful don't mean shit.
ain't straight.
No,
When that
but see,
kid not yours, that's
the kid
way
not
more
yours, so you
insulting.
raise it. It's like, yeah, you raise it, and that's that's your
18
child at
years.
the end of the day. But
But
if
we
you had
together.
known that and you
Yeah.
had that,
You can
like,
still cheat.
you didn't give that person that decision.
I feel like if you're in a marriage, you're happy, you're having babies, and it takes a lot to get to that place where,
Again, just because you're married don't mean shit. Like I said, if I put it like this, everybody that was married was faithful, there wouldn't be such a thing called adultery. There wouldn't be such things called side chicks and side dudes and cheating and all that. If everybody that was if everybody was married faithful, which it doesn't happen. So this is why this is why this question is even a thing, though. You know what I'm saying? If everybody that's married or everybody that was in a relationship was, faithful, they didn't have anybody else but this person, DNA testing wouldn't be a thing if that was the case. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about. She was sensible, but then then after saying that, I'm on the fence with her, though. You know what I'm saying?
you're having babies with someone, if you're responsible, for the question to be asked, can you take a DNA test? I mean, are you kidding me? Like, what is this?
I don't think people who ask for a DNA test is laughing. I don't see any mouths. I don't see any smiles. I don't see chuckles. I don't see anything. That's not funny. And the fact of the matter is, we're discussing, right? The fact that after this question is being asked, and the fact of the matter is that we're having a discussion tells you there's something very wrong with especially with the thought process that this woman had, talking about if everybody was faithful, everybody was not every woman and man is faithful. So get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
It's like, what did we go down the aisle for? What did we say those vows for? If you're not gonna...
Exactly. Why did you say those vows for? Why did do all this? If this is a choice, then there's something's not right. If that even is a question, then there's something very wrong here. If that's even a topic, I'm just saying.
automatically know that this baby is yours.
So this is what I'm gonna say. I think that y'all want this to be mandated because of a conversation you are not strong enough to have with your girl. 1. 2. You requesting DNA, first of all, this is a very gendered question, right? There's no way for a woman, well, let me not speak for every woman. For me specifically, there's no way if my man came up to me, I wouldn't feel some type of offense. But fine, if you have the right to know whether it's your child or not, because I know this is my child, right? But to say that it's mandated is where I have a problem. Who is picking up those costs? The U.S. government? The U.S. government.
Your insurance will pick up the cost is just another $100 off your. If mandatory DNA test was really a thing, it's just another $100 from your bill, which will be covered by your insurance. So you're not really picking up the you're not picking up the cost of anything like that. It's just another charge that will actually be covered by your insurance company. If you don't have insurance, then I don't know what to tell you.
Government should be paying for these mandatory tests for you to know. No. First of all, we have so many issues in this country already. To then play.
And this is one of them. If it wasn't an issue, this wouldn't even come up. But this is an issue as well, just like every other issue. So obviously, you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
That type of payment on the U.S. government
Just
is
add it to
wrong.
a plan.
No,
Just on your healthcare plan.
no. And first
Check
of
the
all,
box that you do.
Okay, like I said, for those who don't know anything about health insurance, let's just say that the federal government said right today that DNA testing for a pituitary is mandatory today. Guess what? Again, it's just another extra $100 off your bill, which will be covered by your health insurance. Even if you didn't meet the deductible, it will still be paid for by your insurance. It's just another bill. That is it. That is all. It's nothing major. It's just another extra $100. That's all. Hell, you get DNA tested for free. So an extra $100 is covered on your insurance. It wasn't the same thing though, you know. It's really not really much. So what are you talking about again?
First of all, healthcare does not cover so many ailments that are like people are dying from.
I get
Not
that.
even just ailments, like feminine products.
Just feminine products. So for you to make that mandatory, that would have to be a government issue.
Do you know that?
If you want a mandatory test,
Which I do.
you pay for it
Which
yourself.
I better get.
You pay for
I got
it
the money
yourself.
for it.
So
I will
that's
pay for it.
fine. That's fine. So that's
Yeah, I'll pay for it. Or I'll go to Maury or go one of those maternity course and get a DNA test for free. That's also an option too as well. Y'all forget there's an organization will actually get DNA testing for free. So you really don't have to pay for it unless you really want to. That's the part that most motherfuckers are missing.
I'll pay for it.
So let's make it clear.
Because
If
you know that a lot of
let me
women-
finish my sentence.
All right, go ahead.
Let me finish my sentence. I personally pay taxes, and I care about where my money goes. I'm not here to.
Again, there are organizations that will actually do this DNA testing for free. And if not, it still will be billed through your insurance and it will be covered. It's a cover thing through your insurance. And if it's not covered, it's only an extra $100. That's it, that's all. And also, this may also save your life as well. But that small-minded thought process that she's having, you sound suspect to me, dear. Just saying.
To pay for so and so because there's a confusion about who's the father. That's not my business. Handle.
If there's confusion on who the father, and you're the reason why there's confusion, then it is your problem. Just saying.
Your personal shit And for me, I want to fund schools. I want to fund the MTA because the trains are never on time. We got bigger problems. We have bigger problems.
I love the deflection. What you do is you take a non-issue, and you make it as an insu. You make a non-issue, and then put it as a topic of discussion. That's complete easy to do. What the fuck you talking about? You talking about I wanted my money to save and I want to save lives and all this other dumb shit. What has to do with the discussion about mandatory DNA testing? You took a non-issue and you made an issue just to deflect the matter is that you're completely wrong in your assumption that mandatory DNA testing is not a good thing. That's what you said, but me personally, I say it's a good thing though.
Problems. I'm sorry, I'm not paying for no mandatory test. When you're saying mandatory requires everyone to do it. Not everybody can pay for it.
No.
That's you're adding stuff. You're adding stuff. Hey man, let me.
Says the person who just was talking about a non-issue. Just saying.
Finish my shit.
Ooh.
When you say mandatory, that includes people that are having children that don't necessarily have the money to pay for this test. A mandated thing is going to be covered by the government.
So that means if you can
So
afford it.
if you can't afford it, but you're not.
So
But here's my thing. So the U.S. government is going to take care of it. We have too many other issues that are way more pressing than you knowing the fidelity of your relationship and whether that be your child. If you personally want to check for your child, that's you. But to say that it's mandatory across the country, that's crazy. And it's inconsiderate.
I agree with you.
The only thing that's crazy I hear is you're going on about something that's not even an issue yet. Yeah, you real suspect.
No.
So,
This point, I think this point.
you saying that you will pay for it, right?
Yeah, I'll pay for it.
So if it costs $5,000, you're gonna pay for a DNA test that costs $5,000?
Does it cost $5,000?
And I'm going to tell you straight up, there are no DNA there's no DNA testing for DNA for pediatry costs $5,000. It's only an extra $100. All you gotta do is go and research the shit yourself. And I was licensed in health insurance, so I know what will happen if, let's just say, off top, that mandatory DNA testing is $5,000. Guess what? Since it's mandatory in the United States, let's just say it's a mandatory thing. You don't pay really for anything that's mandatory, such as DNA testing. Again, that will be covered by your insurance. You won't have to pay anything out of pocket except for the copay. That's after they put the money after the copays after you go basically like the hospital and the insurance company negotiate the amount, how much they will pay out, and how much the patient will have to pay afterwards. That's it. That is all. It's all encompassing. It's all encompassing of other things as well. So no DNA testing gonna cost $5,000. That's just unrealistic. That's unrealistic. Idiot.
$5,000?
For every child, it doesn't matter.
DNA testing for my parents was
I have a question though. Would you be okay with your wife having you do a lie detective test, whether you cheat on her or not?
Why not?
But if you were doing something wrong though?
I wouldn't be.
Exactly. So why would the DNA be?
DNA testing, even though there's there's a high probability that you may be or may not be telling the truth. Like some DNA testings are 75%. The highest one I've heard was 98%. But those are percentages. DNA testing is a solidified fact. 99.9. There's no such thing as a perfect human being, so that's why it's always going to be 99.99999999999. That is a solidified fact. DNA is fact. Lie detectors, It depends on who answers the questions, and also depends your blood pressure and everything else. So what the fuck are you talking about? Lie detector test? It's not the same thing. It will never be the same thing. The fuck.
God
bless you, man. Why we even at this topic?
But this is what I'm saying. This question. I don't
No,
think-
because you know what's crazy?
I don't think this
in the
question
hospital, women. In the hospital, women do ask for a DNA test. People do ask on the leg. They'll pull a nurse aside and be like, "Can you know after the check?"
And that's fine.
But
If the question is about it being mandated,
But
so understand
you know why
what
the
that
question-
means.
The
You know why
stance
the
that you took on this question, I think for sure that the person that was writing this was talking about upon, like they're talking about like when you're requesting it, like it should be mandatory where, like let's say a dad is like acting like this isn't his child. You should be able to say, oh, had this DNA test, and they can't deny it.
Bingo. That's exactly the plan I was getting with. Bingo. If that dude says, well, this child ain't mine. Oh, really? Well, mandatory DNA testing says that this child is yours because we tested your DNA. We DNA your DNA soon as the child was born, so therefore you cannot say that well, I don't think this child is mine. Actually, we have solidified proof that this child is yours. So what are you talking about? That's the question right there. That's something they're not understanding. It's something that maybe they do or they not understand. I don't know, but that should be understood though.
If
deny
a dad is acting like that's not their child, and a woman
They can say no to a paternity test.
no, he cannot. If a court says you gotta take a mandatory test, you have to take it.
When you are mandating it across the country, understand the effects of what that's going to be.
Versus a court order.
It's a completely different thing.
Well, I know one thing might affect child support for ones. And let's just say that you raising a child for years and years and years, and they come to find out you're not the child, you're not that fella's child, you're not that child's father. Guess what? You're still stuck with child support. That's the fucked up. That's something that should be fixed, right? That mandatory DNA test will actually fix that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how many women on this earth actually had sex with somebody else and come to find out the child somebody else's. But back in those days, before DNA was tested, it was like, okay, well, the only way that I could tell that this child's not mine if it's a different skin color of us or different features or whatever. But we're not, completely sure. You see what I'm saying? So now there's this technology of DNA testing. I'll say let it be mandatory. I mean, if you don't have anything to hide, then what's your problem? Just saying.
So when y'all wildin' talking about when you're wildin' saying that it should be mandated for the whole country, when there are so many other issues that we have to attend to because of your personal issues with your girl.
Both of us.
It ain't.
Wait a minute. How is a man's personal issue if he wants to make sure that the child is his? If you're not doing anything, how's that his issue? Just saying.
It's me and you. What you
She
mean?
over here doing stuff.
I don't know if this is mine.
So you speak to her. That's a personal problem.
I gotta take your word
That's
for it.
you know what I'm saying? That's a personal problem, not a country one.
Is that a personal problem?
It is a personal problem. You don't know if that's your child. That's personal. The country don't got to deal with that shit.
She don't know either.
She failed to realize it's her problem as well. Just saying.
Yellow side.
That's a personal problem.
But you don't know either way, though. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Nobody knows. Like,
That's still a personal.
I don't trust her.
I
I
don't
don't trust the
understand what you're
baby.
saying.
Like,
You hear what I'm saying, right? The argument is that it's personal.
I think it should only be mandated if it's not, if you're not in marriage. If you're in marriage,
Nah, absolutely
I
not.
think that's
We are
Even if you are in a marriage, it's still supposed to be. It still should be mandatory. I don't give a damn. Like, not everybody's marriage is faithful. Let's just be real about that shit. So that was the dumbest shit you can ever say to me. That's the dumbest shit you can ever say. Well, if you're in marriage, no. Everybody. There's a thing. That's why it's called mandatory. It should be for everybody. I don't give a damn. You the most faithful motherfucker in the world. It should be for everybody. I don't give a damn. Even a motherfucker just appeals to be the most healthy having relationship. There's always a sliver of doubt that this person may have that. Wait a minute. there's something wrong here. I don't think this child is mine, but let's do an DNA test and make that mandatory. And let's see. DNA test is not DNA test is not going to hurt anybody. It's not a life threatening thing, but it's not life threatening, but it is life threatening. Because for the matter is, me personally, I'd be goddamn if I'm going to pay child support for a child that's definitely not mine. Real talk.
Women in this situation about the topic in which we're talking about, pregnancies and DNA tests, in most cases than not, is going to be you have doubts about who the women cheating, and that's why the baby may not be yours. The direct topic question was from a man asking he doesn't want to raise another man's child. So in that case, who would have cheated? The woman. So,
well, that's obvious because I never seen a male, unless it's one of those transition males, aka females. But beyond that, I never seen a natural born male I never seen a dynamic have a natural born male have a child and say, "Well, I don't think this is mine." Of course, obviously it's gonna be the woman's woman's child. She had it. Obviously, that's gonna be hers. But is it really mine? Is it his? Is it his? Is it his? That's the question that need to be answered. Just saying.
yeah, in those situations, it's gonna always be about a woman. You're trying to get a DNA test. If it's a man outside the relationship, he gonna bring the evidence of the cheating. He gonna bring the child. And that's like the part where that's where it hurts the most. Like that's the time where it should be mandatory. If I'm in a if
in
you're
a marriage?
and that's that's when it happens.
You're cheating. That's why you would want it. You cheating, so you try to abuse her.
First of all, it's not when it's in that situation. More times than not, when it's like a relationship, is usually the woman who's committed infidelity because the guy is a.
Well, that's obvious because, like I said, I never seen another natural born male talking about had a child and said, "Well, that's not mine." I'm just saying. Of course, it's gonna be for the woman, though. You know what I'm saying? Because, contrary to belief, women cannot have children unless there's a man involved. I mean, contrary to popular belief, no woman have a child unless there's a man involved. So if that child is not mine, then and we know this for a fact, then how the hell did another man DNA match for someone who's supposed to be my woman? Just saying.
Assuming if you're in a relationship, if you're married and you're in a relationship, the man is assuming, and most times when you're on Maury, you're watching these cases or you hear about these stories. You're assuming that.
I almost died because Shabazz said women are usually the one that's unfaithful. He sounds like he's guilty of something because.
But that's fact though, because how is it the man being unfaithful has to do with you not? But I'm confused. Wait a minute, I am totally confused. How is it that the man cheating have anything to do with the fact? Wait, I'm confused as hell. How is it a man cheating on his woman have anything to do with if this child is his or not? Because if the child is not his, then it is the woman is usually the ones doing the cheating, not the man though. Because I don't see anybody talking about, well, I don't see the woman talking about, well, yeah, I fucked her, I fucked him, yeah, he try to, you know what I'm saying, try all that, you know, try that infinite shit, but you know, I fucked her, so I fucked him, so yeah, that child ain't mine. Hey man, that child ain't mine. He gave it to me willingly though, you know what I'm saying? So this child's not mine. You will never see a male saying that shit though, you know what I'm saying? So obviously it's gonna be the woman that's gonna be doing the cheating. The fact of the matter is that the child may or may not be his. So what's one have to do with the other? I got it. When women lose arguments, they always bring up a non-issue to make it think that the thing they're talking about is actually right, but actually they're wrong.
Because a lot of time in a lot of culture, the man is normally the one that's out there cheating. And even guys that are religious, even people that are, I know people personally that.
Again, what has that to do with if that child is his or not? If that child is not his, then it's obviously the woman is doing the cheating. What's the man have to do with any of that?
That are, that go to church every Sunday, but they still cheating on their wives. So I don't know what he's talking about.
The person that
No, dude, I don't know what the hell you talking about. Him going to church every day, him saying that he's faithful and shit has nothing to do with the fact that man is if that child's not his. What's that to do with him cheating? If the child's not his. I'm confused. My head is killing me.
that you're with is automatically that's your child. And that's why a man asks this question. It was directly gender related. A man is asking that question. If you're outside, that's another big thing because everyone's right to do. They were single, whatever. But when you're with somebody, the person that having questions about if they're the father of that child, they go through the rest of this child's life taking care of it. And if that was me, like after 18 years, they're not gonna turn it back on the child. But if I had known from day one, I'm out.
Hold up, pause. First of all, women.
God damn it, he's right. If I knew it'd be different. It'd be different if that woman had a child long before we met. That's different than I'm with this woman. We didn't have any kids at first. When we had kids and stuff. But come to find out, we maybe had 1, 2, or 3 children. Come to find out, none of these little kids are mine. I would like to know that too. And if they're not mine from the get, I'm out. I have no obligation to raise somebody else's child. Especially, like I said, it would be different if she had a child long before he met me or met that man. That's different than y'all together, but then y'all have a child, then all of a sudden come to find out that child's not his. It's a huge difference. Huge difference. Huge difference. Just saying.
Take care of children that aren't theirs all the fucking time and don't make a big ass deal about it.
That is so different. I'm going to say this one more time. It is different if you are a stepfather. Like that woman had that child long before she met you. Let's say you just met this dude, right? You have a 3-year-old child. You take the child under your wing, and you know what I'm saying. If it's a little boy, you teach him what things to do, what a man do. If it's a woman, you give her that male and that male female balance, though, you know what I'm saying. And that's your stepdaughter if you get married and all that good stuff. It's different from we're married, we have no children, we have a couple of children, but come to find out you was fucking around and those child are not mine. And then you still want me to help a child that you got from me for somebody else, and you still want me to check? Fuck you.
You're saying that.
I am saying that.
But you have a choice. You know that. You know that's not your kid.
Pause. What I'm making a declaration between is the fact that this is a personal problem that you have.
There, you're wrong, and you're loud. And you're loud and wrong. Your masculinity, your masculinity is showing there, dude. I need you should be knocking down just a tad and use logic. But then again, I mean, some females don't use logic, and she's spoken on it not a logical but emotional. You're speaking more motivation, omission. Basically, you're not thinking logically. You're thinking more with your emotions. That you're wrong. You're loud and wrong about this subject. Just saying.
With your girl, and you're making a country responsibility when we have other things to tend to first.
If it's not mine, I'm walking away. That's
exactly.
That's it. Nothing else to talk
exactly.
About. If you just
exactly.
What I'm gonna do, I don't know what they gonna do, but I'm out.
I don't think
Exactly.
there's any issue with a man taking care of another man's child. Women do it all the time, whether you know or not. He might bring another child and say, "Oh, I had this out of our wedlock. You know, what are we gonna do?" Or he's taking your money and paying child support to another family. You had no idea. So when we're just like jumping, like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that." Hold on, it's already being done.
Stepfathers are different than this bitch fucking around on you and having a child on you. Huge difference, and a very small percentage of men actually held somebody else's children. A very small percentage. But guess what though? He knows those are his kids. So what the fuck you talking about? What's this have to do with the subject of mandatory DNA testing? What the fuck does that got to do with anything? Just saying.
You could have been doing so many other things with your life. You could have been figuring your life out. I don't know, feeding pigeons. I don't know, doing anything. But you raising a kid that is not yours. I mean, if you had the option to know that was your kid and you wanted to raise that kid, that's perfectly fine. A lot of people do that. But when you don't know, you're doing it out of the obligation or the mindset that this is my child. I'm gonna raise him or her. I'm gonna raise them up. I love them. This is my DNA. This is my blood. And then come to find out that's not your kid.
There's a clear like.
And that happens a lot. I could look up right now and get 10 children off top on the same subject that men are paying child support to women that are not even his, not even theirs though. How many women doing that? How many women's paying child support to children that are not his? Not hers? How many women doing that? None. None that I ever heard. But men, most of all the fucking time, man. Paying for children not even theirs. That happens to Lynn a lot. Never had to in woman. Not one time. Not once. Not once.
Like disrespect going on, right? If I have and double standard. Yes, I understand. It's fucked up if somebody has a child for you and it's not for you and expecting you to raise it. I get that. But what I'm saying is that
that should have been the end of his discussion. You get it. You actually just agreed. In a discussion. There's no need to say anymore. In a discussion. You just agreed that that's not fair for a man to raise a child that's not his, especially if she fucking around on you. In a discussion. That's all you have to say. In a discussion. There's not even more to say, but of course, women like this don't think logically though.
women, first of all, have to do that all the time. But we have, but first of all,
circumstances.
women are in these circumstances. Can I finish my damn sentence?
Go ahead.
I would say hell no, you can't unless because if he was actually saying something that actually had any metric, then yeah, sure you can finish. But if not, you just sitting there being loud and wrong, then no, fuck you.
Women are in the circumstance where they need to take care of a child that isn't theirs all the time. And I understand that
Again, how many women are taking care of children that are not theirs because the man had the child and kind of find out it's not the mother's? How many men are doing that? None! So what the fuck are you still talking about? Idiot.
that it ends up being a choice, right? Because you're
is
aware.
a choice.
Can I? So that's what I said, Shabazz. So what's up?
But you're not making it.
I am making a point. If you let me finish, I would finish it. Stop interrupting me.
Because you're not saying nothing.
Exactly. The reason why she keeps getting interrupted because she's not saying anything with any metric. She's not saying anything that she adds to the conversation. She just saying she's basically blending together for something that could or could not be your fault though. You said, well, men this, men this. I haven't seen that one person. I'm gonna keep saying this shit. I haven't seen that one person, no natural born male, ever doubt paternity because of a child they had. You know what I'm saying? They can't birth children. So obviously, Well, obviously there's gonna be some doubts there, but man, last time I checked, 7.4 billion people on this earth is proof that only natural born women can have children. So if only natural born women can have children, then if we come to find out that again the child is not the father's, then what's really going on here?
Because you keep interrupting
Go ahead,
me.
finish it. So we can say the same thing we were saying. You're not giving the person a choice. Me and Akon talking about it's a choice.
I just said that.
Everybody's sitting there looking at you the same way.
No, we're trying to listen to her. You trying to claim that. First of all, I understand it's a choice, but we don't make a choice that we end up doing a personal problem for the government to handle.
You're going about the government again.
Wait, are they saying that they don't make a choice of the man they actually have sex with to have that child, and to squash that out that the child's not man's? Is she saying that? Maybe I'm wrong. I might to rebound that part. Maybe I'm not for sure. But did you just say that there's no choice? I'm confused.
Just because.
Nobody give a damn about the government.
But we're talking about a mandatory decision. If you got to do a mandatory thing, if you got to make a mandatory decision, someone else has to pay for it. What I'm saying is that women have to face this all the time. By choice or not, it doesn't matter. You don't need, the government doesn't need to take up for you because you didn't know about something.
Are you
That's
done
just
yet?
what it is. The government doesn't need to
That's
take
a
up.
personal thing. Like, so what do you
It is a
mean?
personal
There's mad petty
situation.
shit that government
And
pay
it's
for.
totally
That your
fine.
taxes, that you work
Are you
for,
done?
that go to.
Are you done now? Are you
have a
done?
question, though.
Are you done?
Shabazz, say what you gotta say.
Thank you. That whole situation, you didn't say not a damn thing.
Exactly. She didn't say shit. Not a goddamn thing. She didn't say shit. She didn't say shit to add to the conversation. She didn't make no good points. She didn't say shit. You just allowed it wrong for no goddamn reason.
Revolves around choice. If a woman want to stick around for the
So
kid,
because of
that,
choice,
hold up,
the
no, I
government
let you
should be
I let you
included.
in. Let me finish. After you made that choice, you know that this child did not come from your womb. You're sitting there, or you take a man that has kids. You make that choice. All I'm saying, we're all playing fields equal. If I know this is not my child, then let me get the choice. Don't allow somebody to go through the whole life of the children being.
You can get a DNA test though, but don't make it mandatory for the whole country.
She's cute, but she's still loud and wrong though. If she just keep her mouth shut and actually listen to people what they're saying, she'll be the most beautiful person I've ever saw. Looks wise, no problem. Intelligence wise, I don't know. She seemed like an intelligent person until she speaks about things that she obviously don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
The boss can do whatever he want with whoever he want, as many times as he want. I really don't care. You have a right to know if this is your child. My issue with him specifically is that you are making it a bigger deal than it needs to be. If you personally are not sure about this child being yours, handle that on your personal level. Don't give the government or the country that responsibility to handle your shit.
Okay, so if it wasn't so say that your man wants a DNA test, are you gonna give him to him? Are you gonna give it to him? That's the question. Are you going to give it to him? Just saying. Are you gonna give it to him if it's not mandatory? That's a question that That's what they should be asking, though. There's so many opportunities that I could have just. Seriously, if I was there, there's so many opportunities to shut her mouth. Ah, man. I swear, some people do not know how to debate.
You was man enough to stick it in whoever. Be man enough about asking about the results.
I definitely think Shabazz would be the kind of guy who cheats and then come back and ask for a DNA test, because that's how it always works out. In my own personal experience, I was being cheated on and I was being accused of doing something. But you know, God works in mysterious ways. So things ended up revealing themselves. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Okay, that's it. That's just one. That's just one scenario. What about the fact that if a man's not cheating, but come to find out the child's still not his, then what's up with that? Just saying.
I was the one cheating. You were accusing me, but here you are. It's right there. How do you explain yourself? I have a question. What about the men who don't take care of their kids? That don't pay child support. Doesn't the woman still have to take care of them?
That's the woman's fault. If
no, but the thing is, if it's a choice, they don't have a choice. If it's their kids and their husband don't want to pay child support, the woman still have to take care of the kids, though.
But that's you can go to court for that, though.
No, what am I saying?
Nothing to do with DNA.
No, what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, one of my friends is going through that right now. Going to court still don't do anything because the guy can't pay child support and she has to take care of the kids. Is that a choice?
But that's her decision to have a baby with somebody that don't got no money or no job.
Go right there. There we go. Person choices. There you go. This is exactly the reason why that this even thing that mandatory DNA topic is a thing though. That is why right there, mandatory choices that other people make. That's a key thing right there.
No, that ain't shit.
Like the way you put that, sir.
Like, don't lay in bed with a man that don't got shit done.
But what if he had a job and then he loses it? But
that's a different situation though. But that's not even what we talking about right now though. Like
he's going out of his way not to pay.
And he had a job, then obviously she sees something in him that makes her not want to be with him. So
that's a different point.
If it was me, I would want a DNA test.
So under any circumstances, you'd want a DNA test, even if you were married or in a relationship with this woman.
So then why you want it to be mandatory?
Why not?
I don't understand that at all. You're married, and that's the only time
If anything, you should have.
Get one.
If anything, if somebody wants to have mandatory DNA testing, which I think is stupid anyway, it would probably make more sense if you were married because there's more of an incentive to know before
but you should know. You're married.
How? That's assuming that everybody's good.
Why are you married if you don't trust the woman that you married?
Oh, so now every marriage is perfect.
No.
Exactly. What the? Not every. Okay, so men don't need or anything like that. All marriages are perfect and nobody's cheating. Get the fuck out of here.
And that's why I said I want to do it during marriage. I want to do that during marriage.
It's hard to have because
it is. But
there's on one side there's an inherent assumption that everyone is faithful and happily married when they're married.
But there is no assumption. It's just the fact that one, if you think that this person is not being faithful to you to the point where you have to doubt it, don't be with that person then.
Just let me finish. People change. Just because you got married and everything was hunky dory and you guys trusted each other doesn't mean that 3 months after y'all seal the deal, your husband's out there in Thailand smashing a whole bunch of prostitutes. Anything can happen. That's life. It's human nature.
I just want to say something because like that the way y'all coming is making it seem like it's just a perfect world. I got a very much personal tie to this type of situation. Like my dad, before he passed away, he has a child right now, my half daughter, and it's very much apparent that that wasn't his child. My half sister. I'm positive that I have any kids.
Hey, Crown, it looks like you're dodging the question. What is the answer? If you're in a relationship, if you're married, you're still going to request your wife or your girlfriend, okay, girlfriend maybe, but your wife to have a DNA test?
Fuck yeah. I don't give a shit. We were together for 30 years. Hell yeah. Me personally, I don't trust anybody, you know what I'm saying, till proven otherwise. So, especially the woman I'm with. Hell, if I know for a fact that you are who you are and you doing what you're doing, hell yeah, I'm gonna ask. I don't give a look. Facts before feelings on every day. Goddamn, I don't give a fuck about your feelings. I want to know facts. DNA is the one fact that will never change, though. You know what I'm saying? That's solidified right there. So what the fuck you talking about?
I said earlier, no, I'm not going to ask for the marriage. If I'm married, I'm not going to ask for the DNA test. But if we're just like in emotion doing whatever, I would. This is a request.
I mean, yeah, I
totally get that.
I would. Pay for that.
Wait, hold on. Let me ask you a cool question. You see how y'all putting the pressure on us or whatever, like, oh, this whole mandatory thing is not. All right, real quick. If you're in a relationship, isn't there times where you will be like, yo,
I want us to do a STD testing, right?
That's before we get into a relationship.
No. During your relationship, you never get that. During your relationship, you want to ask for an STD test.
No, I'm saying
You absolutely can ask for an STD test.
But it's not mandatory.
But I mean,
the government is not paying for it.
Actually, that's wrong. In certain states, DNA testing is mandatory. Illinois is one of them, though. So what the fuck you talking about? In some states, there are mandatory. There is mandatory STD testing. So what the fuck you talking about? In some states, there are mandatory. And like I said, I'm from one of them. So what the fuck you talking about?
Would you want them to make it mandatory?
No. I don't need it to be mandatory.
If you're not willing to do it, then I'm not gonna sleep with you. Period.
This is my case. You have to say for yourself that you're gonna make that happen. No one else needs to take out that conversation for you.
The day my husband come home and ask me for a DNA test for my 3 kids, let's say if we have 3 kids, I am filing for divorce the second day because bottom line is
guilty.
No, I'm not guilty.
You're guilty.
That's insulting.
You're guilty.
Not like a guilty conscience to me. Just saying. Oh, and another thing. Just because I'm disagreeing with some of these women, that's not mean I'm disagreeing because they're women. I'm disagreeing because they're fucking dumb. Because for the matter is, they're not making any sense. How does one have anything to do with the other, though? I'm confused. I'm so confused. I'm about to smoke me a blunt. Goddamn it.
I'm married with you. I'm married.
That's guilty.
I'm married for
You're
10
guilty.
years.
Sounds like guilt.
No, that's not
like
guilt.
guilt.
That's disrespectful. Because to me,
You're guilty.
Maybe
you saw something.
If my husband asked me to have a DNA test for our children, whether it's 1 or 2, I will be filing for divorce because if I haven't given you any idea that I'm cheating on you, you decided to ask me for a DNA test, to me, you don't trust me. What's the point of being in that relationship?
The best people, the best imposters, the ones that appear not to do anything, but they're the worst ones, though. She cloaked her faithfulness into anger and frustration and hatred. So if I ask you for a DNA test, obviously there's a reason why, and it's not because of me. You really think if I know for a fact that, think about it. If you knew for a fact that your woman is faithful, you really think, if I knew for a fact that if my wife is faithful to me, there's no possible way that she'll fuck around on me. You really think I'm going to ask for a DNA test? Use your fucking common sense.
That's like you asking for a lie detector.
Right.
So then if you come and ask me for a lie detector,
I can do a lie detective test, but when you asking me for a DNA test for my kids and we've been together for 10 years, that means
you should have asked me from day one.
That means you're doing something wrong. That means
Why does that mean?
He didn't give birth to the kids. How's he doing
something? Because you're guilty.
Why am I doing that? No. That's not true. That's dangerous.
That's how it always is. Cheater always like to point
That's a
fingers at
red
somebody
herring
else.
fallacy.
No,
That's
it's not.
the reason why
Because
people are
I was
wrong.
in a situation where I was being accused of.
So
Now,
you're
I was.
Aye. That's your scenario, not everybody else's. But there's too many of them that mandatory DNA is actually the topic of discussion because for the matters, there are women, obviously not all of them, but there are some women who fuck around with their husband. There are women that fuck around on their husbands and come to find out that child's not his. Again, what's that have to do with the other though? Just saying.
No. Listen, I was being accused of being a cheater when he was in fact cheating on me. So the fact, no, it's not different. It's not different.
Kids are involved, though.
It's not different.
A DNA test 10 years later because you're having.
So 10 years later.
A DNA test for something 10 years later, man, the person had built up doubt, but at the end of the day, it's not something that's crazy as regular cheating because they're coming to you about, you know that you're the mother of the child. So they're trying to figure out that point, like, am I the father of the child?
So the first one, he had no problem with it.
If we flipped it up and you're talking about cheating, well, if you ask me for a lie detector test for cheating and I say no, you're going to say I'm guilty. Right. So if you get so outraged that you said you're going to file for divorce,
I will.
Be like,
you done with 3 kids? Are you kidding?
If you married,
I have a reason for asking for a DNA test.
You waiting for 3
But
kids?
it doesn't matter. Maybe I saw something that
if somebody can wait 10 years,
Sometimes it doesn't come. It doesn't come.
at the end of the day, if a man tell me that he want a DNA test for our 3 kids, I'm gonna take it.
Why?
Because I'm not guilty.
But also why? Because you love your husband and you want to prove to him that.
But I don't have to. But it's not about feeling like I have.
See, right there. I like this one right here. Now she finally said. Now this person right here actually said something that actually makes sense. I'm not guilty. Of course, I'll give you a DNA test. It'll be your dime, but I'll give it to you. And then after you know for a fact that he shot your children, you're gonna look stupid as fuck. Shit, make me look stupid. Make me look stupid. Make me feel like the worst asshole have you ever heard in life. Do that for me. Make me a lighter. You know what I'm saying?
To prove something,
But what about the resentment though? That comes with it.
Honestly, though, yes. And so once you find out all the kids are yours, do you think that our relationship is going back to normal? It's not. It's not.
But that's something that you can work on.
For me, and I wouldn't want to do somebody like that.
That's not something that's gonna go away. If you ask me for a DNA test for my kids, it comes back positive. The relationship is not going to be the same. Period.
I mean, why would it not be the same?
Because you showed me that you don't trust me. You've been doubting me for all these years. What have I done to you that you feel like that you've been doubting me for all these years? The line of communication should have been there.
Facts over feelings. Something these women are not understanding. Some of these others are not understanding. Facts before feelings. Every day, all day.
From day one. When I got pregnant, you should have been like, I want to get a DNA test when that baby comes out.
What if it wasn't something that happened for 10 years? Maybe there was a family reunion and a cousin came to your partner and said, hey, no, that's real. That's real.
If my husband asked me for a DNA test, one, I would be offended. I would feel disrespected. And, I wouldn't care to ask him why. I would do it to shut him.
Okay, I do understand that you may get disrespected because of your personal feelings, but again, it's facts before feelings every day. I do understand that you be kind of taken back, like, hold up, motherfucker, I've been doing all this for you. I have not even so much as looked to another fucking guy. No guy in this world will have a pants for me. Yeah, I do get you be taking a little taken back, like, who the fuck? But at the same time, though, facts over feelings. Understand that.
I would do it to prove that I'm not guilty, so I'm gonna do it. I don't think I would.
That's all. That's it. That's all.
But at the same time, if you don't why you don't trust me, like, it will cause an argument. I don't think our relationship would be the same at all.
I think DNA should definitely be done at birth. Anytime after that, it definitely will bring into the trust issues, and it also eliminates the, I raised this kid for 5, 6, 7 years not knowing if the kid was mine or not.
That's it. Just mandatory DNA tests as soon as the child is birth, or if you really want to get really expensive, you could do an amniocentesis. That's basically mean, for those who don't know what amniocentesis is, you take a basically it's a nail that it's a withdrawn nail that's like this big, this big, this, like, it's like maybe a double, like maybe like a small gauge, it's a skull gauge, a skull needle that's in width, but it's like this big. What they do is they take the needle and they take out the simple cells from the mother and the child, and they push it right through into the to the uterus where they actually hold the baby, and they actually make a incision right here where you take the DNA from the mother and the DNA from the child, and they withdraw that music that DNA time. They take it back, and then that's how you go. Now that is expensive as shit. That embocentesis will cost you at least $3,000. That shit is expensive, and to be honest with you, sometimes it's not covered through the insurance. So I guess DNA after the birth is actually a lot cheaper, and in some instances it's free. So just saying.
A cousin can share your mind that quickly.
This shit happen. It's not about quickly. I didn't say quickly.
So we're just out here sleeping with cousins now, apparently.
Relax. You're wrong.
See, with that type of mentality, you have the idea that nobody.
I like you just you said relax. You're wrong, so relax. I like that.
It's capable of anything, and that's a dangerous mentality.
Nothing past nobody.
That's what I'm trying to say. You can't put nothing.
Y'all just putting words in my mouth now.
Because the thing about it is, y'all just like girls accuse guys of cheating.
Off
That's
the premise, off your gut
just
feel.
off the bat. Off the bat. Not doing anything.
I'm with you.
So,
but
just like you said, you ask for, like, if I ask for a lie detector test and you say no, you're guilty or whatever like that, it's the same.
No, it's not.
No. Hear what I'm trying to
Lie
say.
detector
No,
in
I'm
a
talking about the
child
guilt.
is the same thing.
Everything is situational.
All right, we're talking about the guilt
Nothing's
part. We're talking about
even the guilt. It's not absolute. It's situational.
I'm talking about the mentality
if I have 3 kids with my wife, it's 10 years into the relationship, and 4 years in, a cousin comes to me that's on her side and says, yo, there's rumors on our side, like, you might want to look into this thing. I'm like, nah, no, there's no way my wife would do that.
Something gave you the idea.
There's no way my wife would do that. Everything is normal, everything's cool. 3 more years go by, boom, now you see your wife interacting with that person in a super friendly way. You don't think too much about it, but then that cousin from 3 years ago rings in your head. You still don't say nothing because you love your wife, you trust your wife. These type of things happen.
Ask your wife then. Why
Sure.
does the government have
So 6 years into marriage, you now ask your wife denies anything happened. Cool. 3 years later, now it's 9 years into the relationship. 9 years into, no, seriously, 9 years into the relationship, another family gathering, boom. Now you see the male individual that has been referenced now for the past 6 years is now being super touchy-feely with your wife. Your wife doesn't say anything.
So you just gonna stand there and watch this all go down?
Oh my God! Will you let him finish? Look, he sat there and let your hands cackle all goddamn day. Let him finish.
Wait.
She can't.
Let me finish. You confront your wife. Okay, so I saw this and it didn't sit well with me. Can you explain? Oh, nah, it's nothing. Boom, boom, boom. But then that same cousin that was giving you the hints 7 whatever odd years ago is like, yo, by the way, like, I know you weren't there, but I saw this, that, and the third. So now all the things that you
So Tunde, you ask your wife for a DNA test, your wife get a DNA test, and 2 of your kids are not yours. What are you gonna do?
We're gonna have to have a conversation about it.
What kind of conversation?
Yeah.
We're gonna have
10 years in is a lot different.
I think it's a good question.
So that's a great
That
question, and to be honest with you, the way I would handle it, I would probably want a separation.
Boom, there you go. But y'all were acting like I was being dramatic.
Nobody's being dramatic. First of all, let me finish. Let me explain why. I wouldn't send her packing, but it would be very clear that our union is no longer a union. So, I mean, when that happens, what happens?
In that case, if that happened to me, I'm single, bitch. Straight up, I'm single. Now we prove that you're a liar, that you're a manipulator, and quite frankly, you cannot be trusted. So therefore, the bond of marriage has already been dissolved as soon as I found that out. So fuck you.
What happens? You kind of have to separate yourself from the individual, right? Obviously, there may be things that may complicate that scenario, like maybe I have a relationship with a child that isn't mine. I raised that child, so obviously I'd still want to play a part in that child's life and not let the child suffer for a situation that wasn't his or her fault. So I would still do my best to maintain some sort of stable upbringing for that child, but I wouldn't want to actively, be with the woman that was dishonest with me. I would ask for a separation, likely, because you lied to me.
Multiple times.
I asked you multiple times to tell me the truth. I gave you multiple opportunities to clear the air where I would have forgiven you, if that was the case. You didn't take advantage of those opportunities, and you lied to me multiple times. So because I've given you the opportunity to clear the air and be transparent, you refuse the opportunity to do that. And now I have the proof that I need. Now there is no trust at all.
But you got the proof that you needed with or without a mandation.
No, but the mandation helped. No. I agree with you. I don't.
You got the proof that you needed without it being mandatory. Therefore, it does not need to be mandatory.
I've never been on the side of mandatory, but at the end of the day, that all that 6-7 years that I've been now taking care of kids that aren't mine could have been avoided if she still chose to lie to me after I had a mandatory test done. I'm not advocating for a mandatory test.
Bingo! That is it right there. Bingo! That even though he doesn't agree with the mandatory DNA testing, but that would have helped you in the long run, not to suffer for the fact that now you went 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line. Now you find out this is not your child. Mandatory DNA testing would have saved all that trouble, and then you would be able to make you wouldn't be able to make a wrath and in a rash decision to say, well, should I stay with her and knowing that what she did or what she did? Should I? And of course, I'm not going to be able to trust her anymore. But I should still stay for the kids. That's not mine. But you're not giving a tax to them. Versus, if I do that from the get go, I wouldn't have to have no taxes, your taxes and shit like that, no physical taxes, no mental taxes, no mental taxes. Now I can take a informed choice to whether I want to stay in or not. Mandatory DNA testing from the get go save a lot of trouble, even though some people do not agree with it. Just saying.
But I'm simply saying that it would alleviate a lot of the nonsense that happened in that situation. That's one situation. I'm not saying every situation.
One situation would have been alleviated if you had personally went and asked her about it in the first place.
No. I asked her about it 3 times.
I'm saying ask for a DNA test in the first place. What I'm saying is that
I would have asked in the first place.
That's kind of aggressive.
But that's what I'm saying. After the third instance of like, okay, I've seen it.
You want to avoid an awkward conversation. That's what this is more so about in the mandatory situation.
Yes. Finally, you asked your question. Yes, I want to eliminate myself for a fucked up situation. That's it right there. Why the hell should I be able to wait a minute? Why the hell should I roll a child that's not mine if I know for a fact that the child's not mine? Informed choices. Informed choices creates avoiding actions. Just saying.
All right, let me clear something up. For me, in a mandatory DNA test or whatever, this is how I would want it to be. If they're not in a relationship, if they're messing around, if they're fooling around, I believe it should be mandatory.
Look, I don't give a damn if it's not a relationship, in a relationship, married, single, coupled up, whatever. That, with me, the shit's definitely going to be mandatory. Not because I think the woman, not necessarily mean that I don't think the woman did anything, just to be sure. And it might save, like I said again earlier, that may also save lives as well, just in case genetic deficiencies and stuff like that. Things we may suffer or could be brought on a cure or a treatment or something like that. Just saying.
Sorry, honestly, and that's just, and whether you feel like it's petty or whether
not
you feel
about money, just the
it's not even about the
mandatory means everybody. If you make it mandatory, it's everybody. Whether you married, you got a boyfriend, a side piece, whatever.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what it was. Like I said, the way I understood the question was a lot different. Like
he didn't give circumstances.
I mean mandatory like upon request, because people duck and dodge requests.
It is mandatory upon request. Yes, it is. If you go to court and ask for a DNA test, you have to take it.
Yes,
first of all, my dad, like the same situation, like
in America,
in America, like with a situation where his wife was in his ear and he tried to get a DNA test on me when I was 19. It's not mandatory in the state of New Jersey.
Yes, it is.
In New Jersey, I don't have
to ask for it. It's mandatory.
After the kid goes past 18, they don't have to get a DNA test anymore. They don't have to get a paternity test, and because in that instance, you don't have to do it. You don't have to comply to it.
Let's also talk about the relationship though. My thing is that you've introduced this DNA test however long in our relationship. You find out the kids are yours.
Right.
What do you want us to do now? How are we supposed to get together? How are we supposed to be cool? You don't trust me.
Right.
That's why you don't wait to the end. If it's done at the beginning, of course there's going to be trust issues, but across the board, if it's something that everyone's doing, then there's no reason for you to be like, oh, well, you don't trust me because everyone has to do it anyway. That eliminates.
If it's mandatory, like I said, if it's mandatory, then trust actually goes out the window again. I'm gonna keep saying it again. Facts over feelings every time.
Eliminates that trust factor because I'm not asking just you.
There's a point.
This is something.
It's going against societal norm. So it's like if everyone had to do it, eventually, like obviously at the beginning there'd be a lot of pushback, but once it became,
it takes the onus off.
exactly,
The individual.
then it wouldn't be like, oh,
conversation,
I
like,
requested it or I made you do it.
Or I don't trust you.
It's just
No,
like,
it's just
the results came
part
back.
of
It's
It should be normal.
I just feel like if you never had any sign that I was doing anything wrong,
But even that's
there's
part of the
absolutely no
problem.
reason why my child has to do a DNA test.
But that's part of the problem. A lot of people never get that sign and they end up raising a kid that's not theirs. That's fucked up.
No, people are not paying attention then. Because
It's not about paying attention. Like,
you can't tell somebody's cheating.
Very naive.
No. Some people.
very naive.
You ever heard of the statement that cheaters are sociopaths?
No,
you ever heard of that?
It's not even about being a sociopath. No, first of all, it's naive.
I can't agree with that because as a woman, I was cheated on and I didn't know that my man was cheating on me.
Everybody's probably been in a situation where they didn't know their partner was stepping on them.
You're not one of your partners cheating on
There's
you.
no way you can see that. So that's a little naive.
No, I think there are signs you're not paying attention to those.
Sam and Tina, that's naive.
That's not
I think you overlook
Sam
it
and
a
Tina,
lot.
I was in a relationship where I was living with my man. He was home every day. We was sleeping in my bed every day, and he still had a whole nother relationship going on. And he was sleeping in my bed every day. There was
Now you see what I'm talking about? Flip that. The woman's there with her day. She's there every morning. He don't know that she had this whole relationship from the side. It works both ways. Just saying.
not a day he did not come home, and he still was in a whole nother relationship.
Have you ever been
Period. Nothing was different. This is a man that took me on vacations, bought me what I wanted. There were no signs. I did not feel like I was being cheated on.
With
Period.
social media, you should know. You will know.
you're wrong. Not everybody goes over social media. I need to put you on social media fast. You better fast.
You know what? But let me say this, Chavis. What I'm saying is like, you know what? You stunned me with that point. I'm not gonna lie. Like I sat back, I was like, okay, bet. But what I will say is that there may be. You did have me. But what I would say is that maybe it's just what I want in my man. I want a man that is strong enough and confident enough in whatever to come to me and ask me. I don't want it to be mandated. It's not an easy one, but I expect that from you. I expect that. I would just but this is what I'm saying. I would prefer that. I would prefer it. I don't want it to be just because whatever it's regulated that we have these tests. If you feel the need to have it, come to me.
Then how are you gonna feel after that?
It's gonna suck, but I still need that in my partner. I don't know if my husband is seeing tomorrow if he come to me asking for some DNA tests. We had these babies together. I've been supporting you. You've been supporting me. Now you want to come up and talk about swabbing cheeks? No.
Wait a minute. You don't want to swap. You don't want to swap with cheeks, but you. Wait a minute. Hold on. This girl's crazy. Wait a minute. So you don't want to swap cheeks, but yeah, you get your cheeks clapped, right? Get it? You won't do a swab. You don't do a cheek swab, but you get somebody swabbing those cheeks. Shit, cool. I mean, I guess so.
Absolutely not. We fighting. That's what I'm saying. We fighting.
You have to remember, not every woman is built like you. Not everybody's built like you. Not every man is built like most of us that are here. You know what I'm saying? Like your expectation of every woman is because inherently you subconsciously expect all women to behave like you and think like you. That's unfortunately not the reality. And it's the same thing for us. I'm expecting for all men to want to confront their partner if they think something's wrong. I would do that because that's how I was raised, to confront things. There are people that don't do that, and I know a lot of men that wouldn't.
Everyone
confront.
talks about communication.
So I can't expect for I can't expect for me to approach any woman and ask for the truth and get the truth, because I know not every woman was raised like women in my home. So when you assumptions are dangerous for that reason. So when you assume, oh, I'm not being cheated on, or I am getting cheated on, that's problematic. But when there's things in place that remove all doubt, it helps everyone. I'm not saying anything should be mandatory, but I think more people should definitely be more open to doing DNA testing and not getting offended when things like that are requested to them. Because at the end of the day, I think
offensive.
sure it could be,
It is,
but
but-
you know
Really
what's more,
offensive.
you know what's
So I have
more,
a
but
question.
no.
If my husband asked me to take a DNA test, best believe after the results come back positive, I will be getting my Mercedes Benz. I'm going on vacation, all on your dime, shopping. If you want things to go back to being normal, you're spending.
Why?
Huh. Good to know. Now I know what to do if I ever meet you. How to, beg for forgiveness. You materialistic heathen. Just joking.
Is it offensive to you?
I mean, if I'm in a relationship with you, especially if I'm married to you, it should be known
Have you ever
that
cheated? Have you ever been cheated on?
Have I been cheated on yet? I have.
So you literally just.
Have you cheated?
You dodging the question. Have you cheated
Oh,
before?
No, but have you
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank
I
you.
mean, yes,
So-
I have.
Sure.
I
okay,
have
sure.
cheated
So
before,
things
but
happen.
I wasn't married.
Doesn't matter.
Married
It doesn't
is a
matter.
different
Cheating is
thing.
It doesn't fucking matter. My point-
Yes, I have cheated before. I mean, once when I was like really young and like it was nothing. And then, recently I was in like a terrible relationship. I was very honest with him about it. It was a conscious decision. Like I didn't really want to be with the person that I was with, and it was a cry for help, really.
That statement was very off-putting. But again, like.
And I didn't have a baby
Doesn't
either.
matter. You still stepped out of the
I
situation.
wasn't ready to have a baby with this
We're
dude.
We're not judging. Thank you. We're not
saying
judging.
everyone cheats.
You've been,
And I'm pretty sure he probably wasn't
You
thinking
trusted
like, all
someone.
right, she
You
wasn't
trusted
cheating.
someone. Somebody trusted you. You've been stepped out on.
There was no trust.
You've been stepped out on. You've stepped out on someone. So things happen. That's my point. My point is you can't expect everyone to be super honest and super transparent, because people are human and they hide things, and
You get scared to have conversations.
So I
like
have a really good question.
And you can't expect everyone to want to clear the air if they don't even know there's air to clear. Like,
Quick
you
question.
can't expect that.
So I know DNA tests are really popular here in America.
Right.
How big is it? I've never been to Africa. How big is it? From my assumptions, a lot of people don't do it.
I've only heard
That's not a norm, right?
Mine is not.
They
Yeah,
have the
it's
baby
not
and they
the
take care
norm.
of it.
I think
They don't have the resources.
Not only that,
just the resources.
I think mentality and behavior
It's
plays a
definitely
part.
mentality
And
and
like the culture is like, a lot of people, a lot of parts in Africa, they do believe in
They talk about Africa like it's a country. It's a continent. Which country in Africa are you talking about?
sex after marriage. They don't believe in sex before marriage or whatever like
But
that.
shit happens.
Yeah, of course, shit happens. You understand? So when the norm is for people to get married and then have sex, then people are automatically
kill
thinking,
that assumption. Yeah, they kill that assumption.
yeah,
That's
that,
probably
okay,
not.
this child can't. Obviously, this child
Yeah,
is
but not
mine.
just
You
that.
feel
I
me?
mean, I'm
And
speaking,
then,
from, I'm speaking from Yoruba culture, right?
Right.
Right.
A bunch of liars
boom.
and cheaters.
Wow.
Excuse me? So you-
Wow.
See, that sounds like
So
a
I- so why
that sounds
you
like a
don't-
personal projection
so why you
based
don't-
on your experience.
I ain't never
Because I can
dated
say
a
the same thing about
Nigerian
Ghanaian
before.
women.
Why you
I can
done
say the
with me?
same thing about lying,
I feel like you done with me.
sugar daddy Ghanaian women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was some bullshit. That was a bullshit statement she just said. Talking about they're all liars. Like, really? They just do the same thing about country in your culture. So what the fuck you talking about? See, that's that bullshit.
That be out here going
I like how you fixing your blocks, man.
and dating light skinned older
It's
men.
not me, so.
Oh, okay. I'm just saying we can generalize too. But going back to what I was saying about Yoruba culture,
Nigerian culture, yeah.
there are people in rural villages that have their own way of gauging infidelity and all that stuff. They have their own
Definitely.
traditional ways of discerning who's who and what's what in relationships.
So how do you guys find out whether the child is, whether you're the father or not, if you guys don't really do DNA tests?
Back in the day, they would use traditional means to do that. They would use like They would use traditional means like juju, or
Yeah.
they would see
that
what we
like-
call babalawo.
For those who doesn't
Yeah.
work,
I was like,
Juju
what's
is
juju?
saying juju is
Witch
voodoo.
doctor. Yeah.
Supernatural.
Or
like,
supernatural.
Metaphysical.
It's more like black spirituality.
Alternative
It's
medicine.
black spirituality.
Alternative
Yeah,
medicine.
yeah. And
You go to
wait,
a
is
witch
it-
doctor.
Voodoo.
It's not like real though. The results
No, it's
aren't-
real.
No,
It's real. It's pretty
Is it
real.
accurate?
There
I
are
can't tell you. I
there
don't
are
know.
elements of it that I have seen personally that I could not debunk. And it's something it's
I've
something
seen
that is
some
not
weird-
meant for me
weird
to
stuff.
understand, so I don't want to understand it all
That's
of
a
it.
nice way to put it,
But
too.
I will say that there are things in this world that
cannot
I
be
have seen
explained.
with my own eyes
And you don't question
that I
it.
don't question. We definitely have native doctors, babalawos, and things like that the community would use as resources when there were things that needed to be understood in the metaphysical space. So that would be a very good example of, hey, I don't know whether this kid is mine. Can you ask the god of fertility, who is responsible for this child? Is it me, or is it Kasali, the farmer down the street that always winks at me weird when I'm at the market because, he has a secret with my wife that I don't know about and I know something's crazy. So you got to talk to the gods.
He's right though. I see it in my very own eyes too. There's certain things in the spiritual that some people don't understand, and quite frankly, with deception, how you gonna call yourself an African millennial, but yeah, you don't know anything about the practices, the spirituality, or anything like that? It's kind of a hypocrisy. Just saying.
And find out if Kasali is my son's father, so I can chop his head off. Look, for however thousands of years they've been able to tell, King Mundungu's wife was stepping out on King Mundungu, and the only reason why they found out is because they clapped their hands, rubbed chalk together, threw it in the air, and it showed the person that she actually had the kid with, and she eventually confessed, and they were right. I don't know how they did it. I'm saying that's like one example, but they've been doing that for thousands of years, and it works.
So I'm gonna be honest about something. The norm inside like the African culture is not really the woman stepping out and having a kid.
It's usually the man.
It's usually the man having a kid with another woman.
Right.
Now,
But if a woman
stepped
out, if a woman stepped out, what would be in Africa? If a woman stepped out and got pregnant by another man, how would it would be a secret that they will die with? There is no finding out.
Yeah, but there are men too. It's also shame. It's not as much as the woman, but there's also shame on the men as well. That all right, this man had a kid outside of our marriage.
Tell me, secrets come out now, bro.
Yeah,
secrets come out.
There's no shame. These African men have kids here and there, and they don't care.
Tell that to the babalawo. Like, I didn't know. Oh, your wife has been stepping out on you, and then they confront the wife.
Also, I don't like to get in people's relationship. I don't like that, like that cousin telling
You don't like it, but at times the wife is
No,
stepping
no.
out.
Because you know what it is,
That's my
family.
business.
The thing about it is that when family get involved, it's sometimes out of an act of nosiness, and sometimes
But
it's
it's
just
so
concern.
dramatic.
No, but it's like sometimes it's just concern. Like if you got a cousin who's like a brother or sister to you, you looking out for the best of this person. And if you had doubt about the person they've been with from day one,
But
and
sometimes people can be malicious.
you're right, bro.
Exactly, on both sides.
Yeah, that's where that whole trust factor comes in. Now you dealing with a cousin who's been like there for you since day one, and like, I have doubt about this person. You feel me? Now
That's none of his business.
it is. I mean,
it's not.
that's family though.
I mean, there are stories all the time that you hear about. First of all, let's not even bring kids into it yet.
Right.
A woman cheating on her man, whether he speculates or it's true, she can easily get sacked out of her house. She'll be shamed. There are times that I've been in Ghana where I've seen a woman walking around the street and she's naked because they're shaming her because of a cheating accusation, let alone kids. So this is a whole big thing. Like, men have kids all the time outside of the house. Women can get stoned to death.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you why. The reason why it's more acceptable for a man to have multiple women than it is for a woman to have multiple men is this right here. Everybody wants to master your kid, but nobody wants a shitty slick. A lot.
For just the mere thought, the accusation that happened.
I didn't put them on the same playing field, but I know a lot of women who
like had who husband cheated on them, and they kept that within the family because they knew it would be.
Yeah, it's a shame thing.
Yeah, it's just a shame. That's what I'm saying. I'm not putting on the same level.
It's not a good thing either.
I know women go through hell with that whole. There's a double standard, especially in Africa. I definitely think it would be a good thing to introduce like the DNA testing in Africa because like a lot of people do have the assumptions that all right, married, the trust is there, whatever, the foundation is there, so they feel like all right, there's no way that she stepped out and had a kid on me, or even if the wife wants him to do a DNA test because she has speculation some kid might be his, you feel me? Because that's also a big thing in Africa. Yep. The norm in Africa is the men cheating. That's like the big thing. I'm not saying that women don't cheat in Africa, they do, but it's like there's a fear factor that is placed with cheating for the women, so they don't really do it as much as men. And the story, and usually the narrative is that the men are having kids outside of the marriage, or the men are having kids by someone else other than their wife. So that's just like that's the norm.
So, the way women are treated in Africa, as Bridget was saying, how they make them walk in the street naked and all for just an accusation, it's not something that I think will happen that often. Right. That a man is gonna doubt his wife of cheating on him. It'd have to be something so apparent or obvious. There are women that stay home all day with their kids, like out of fear. They don't even cheat because of fear anyway. So what is the point of bringing that when it's not even going to be used?
I hear you, but some women do.
Yeah, it's like saying it's not possible.
The reason why I still wouldn't think mandatory would be fair, but there still needs to be some sort of standard of DNA testing there. There isn't one at all. So even if I wanted to get a DNA test on my wife in Nigeria, I'd have to go through courts. I'd have to go through all these different systems that take months and months and months, unless you have bread. Obviously, everything over there, if you have bread, things are done immediately. But even the instances I've seen, the people with bread still had to wait all this time until this person was paid off. That's the system there.
So what is
this person, until this person.
And get DNA
We're in America. We're in America. In Africa, they don't have.
Why?
Actually, this is the United States. America's a continent. Just getting that out there.
In Africa, they don't have the luxury of CVS.
I get that.
That's what I'm talking about.
How simple the procedure is.
Yeah.
But
They keep talking like Africa is a damn continent. It's a fucking continent, not a country. Which country in Africa are you talking about? We talking about they don't have the resources. That's not for that's not for every 54 countries. There's some countries in Africa. There's some countries in Africa will put the fucking United States to shame. Let's just be real about that shit. So what the fuck are you talking about? Talking about they don't have the resources. Get the fuck out of here.
it's not
that simple.
It doesn't make sense. It's like it doesn't.
You don't have pharmacies?
Jarrell, we are aware there's a disconnect, and that's what we're talking about. There is a huge disconnect. Things don't operate as efficiently over there as they do here.
So they don't have pharmacies that sell things like that?
They have pharmacies. Oh.
I'm saying they don't sell things like that.
You're not going to find a DNA test in the pharmacy.
But it doesn't operate as efficiently.
In the village, if you live in a village where you walking just 10 miles just to get water, there are no pharmacies there where you can just walk into the store. You can't even walk into the store to buy water, let alone walk into the store to buy a DNA test. And to mail it where for it to be tested.
It's obviously they're only talking about the one country in Africa, and even though they haven't even been even been to the continent of Africa, which country are you talking about? They don't have the resources, because there's some countries in Africa that actually put the United States to shame, especially when it comes to resources and everything else. So what the hell are you talking about?
And it's also the shame of even asking. A lot of people will avoid that.
Okay, now
That's what I'm talking
mail it where? Okay,
Like,
get
who
it.
is doing the testing for
And then
this?
some people are shameful in Africa. They won't even ask. Like, yo, hey, can I get a DNA test? Automatically, people like make it. Oh, wow.
Where are you getting a DNA test, bro?
That's a fact, though.
No, I'm saying.
People are like, yo, why would I even do that?
I mean, that's a problem. That's, I think that's what it boils
It's a
down to.
mentality problem. Yeah, it's an infrastructure problem.
So
too,
if you living in Africa right now, you think that your wife cheated on you.
I'm gonna go.
What is your way of finding out? And you think everybody has the luxury to do that?
Everybody going. That's the problem.
So then, what are they gonna do?
We can't say what they would do. We can say what we would do.
I don't know.
That is your pop.
I
your pop. I is your pop.
Take care of that kid, man.
Your mommy won't kill it.
I mean, in all honesty, I think if we were to make the DNA testing mandatory, it would definitely, help certain scenarios. But I think making it mandatory across the board would eliminate that trust issue that, I'm asking just because I don't trust you. And it becomes more of a natural thing that comes with having a kid. I mean, in all honesty, I think, with government, potentially passing a law to make DNA like a must, I think it works out for the best for everyone, in all honesty, because for a kid.
I agree. It does work out for everyone because not only now people like Maury Bowridge and Patterson Card and shit like that, there will be no longer need for them to do that since it's now mandatory. So it actually does it actually does work out for everybody at the end though. So I feel, well, you know what? I'll say that till I'm finished with this video.
I think the kid deserves to know who's their real mother and father. And if it's something that we start now, it's something that makes it an easier conversation down the road where it's not necessarily about trust, but it's just something that comes as a part of having a kid. I mean, you've already tested the baby to make sure that it's healthy. Why not test to make sure you understand who the parents are? And I mean, I think it.
Right there. That's exactly what it's about right there. Not only just for DNA testing, for also if there's anything issue like, genetic deficiency and like that. So it definitely will work out for everybody else though,
And that is part of having a kid. Even for the kid to know who is their actual mother and father, I think that's important. In terms of, bringing DNA to Africa, I definitely think that we've got to figure out some resources for those that are open for that. And
Find
I'm not
resources.
afraid.
Which country in Africa are you talking about these resources? Again, Africa is a continent. Those things in 100 at continents are countries. Which Africa country are you talking about? Are you talking about Ghana? Are you talking about the Republic of the Congo? You talking about Liberia? You talking about Nigeria? You talking about Chad, England, Costco, whatever for that country. Northern Africa, South America, East and West Africa. Which region you talking about? Which country? Nigeria is a country that's in the continent of Africa. Africa itself is not just Africa. Congo, the Republic of Congo, is a country in Africa, but it is not the continent of Africa. So which country are you talking about?
On getting our electricity not being shut off once a week before we find resources for DNA testing.
Another thing that comes to mind with you saying that is, if there were the resources to have DNA testing in Africa, it would also bridge the gap for people here too, because there's a lot of people trying to make those connections to their families over there. And there would be databases that they'll be able to connect the dots. So you just assume, I have family in Congo, I have family that lives.
Check your ancestry.
That's what I'm talking about. The minute you get a DNA test, it goes to the same databases. So you're able to connect those dots more, because the people that would normally never ever go through DNA testing are now in the database. So you can now connect the dots. For someone that grew up in South Carolina can now connect themselves to their family in Mali that they never would have known they had without this database connecting the dots.
I can dig it.
Cool.
I dig it, man. I dig it. See, I dig that. I definitely dig that, man. That's something that everybody should agree on. There's no debate with that one. That is across the board. I like it. I could dig it.
As Africans, we should be worried about, improving our electricity problems and improving the quality of our water. I don't think that, worried about DNA testing is something that needs to be thought about.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right here. Okay. Here's the thing, though. Yes, we do get issues. But again, they talking about a whole continent like it's a damn country. Which which country in Africa do you talking about that he's research, that he water and all this other dumb shit? What the fuck? What country are you talking about? Just saying. All right, but I'm gonna stop it right here. For this reaction. I mean, to be honest with you, they made some good points where I think, me personally, my opinion, I think that DNA testing should be mandatory because if the matter is, again, I can look up 10 questions, 10 questions right then and there, right now, and all I gotta do is put in a search into YouTube, men who paid child support for child that ain't even theirs. There's gonna be a whole damn rabbit hole of information there is that's knowing fact that there's men in this fucking state, their states, and this whole fucking country that's paying child support for children. They're not even near theirs. So yeah, it's definitely a big problem. We should definitely talk about all this other. Yeah, we understand. We had all this other shit like that. What there? Yes, that is fine. There are issues that need to be taken or whatever. This is part of the. This is a part of the favorite. This is one of Peppers as well. Because the fact of the matter is, if I don't know if this child is mine, and if I can't trust, then that should be, that go against my mental health, that my physical health, because I'll feel sick in my stomach, or I feel some type of way, which will affect me physically, to know that you fucked around on me, and this child's not mine. That actually covers everything: your physical, your spiritual, your mental, your emotion, everything. Because all of that is all encompassing when else come to find that you're not even the child's father. So what the fuck are you talking about? It's just another issue that needs to be addressed. So not one problem is bigger than the other though. So what the fuck are you talking about? I'm just saying though, man. Like, dude. And then his thing though, I mean, people should pick their battles, but this is one thing that no man, no matter how emotional she want to get, and she's arguing against the opposition of this issue, then there's no way they will win. There was no way they could end in that argument. So I don't think they should even try it, because compared to the many men that's paying child support for children that are not there versus many women that's paying child support for children that's not theirs, it's almost non-existent. It's not even, that shit's gap is so goddamn wide. It's unbelievable. That's almost an impossibility. That's almost, for a woman, that's almost an impossibility that you gonna normally take care of children that's not yours if a man births it. We can't birth children no matter how much surgery we get, no matter how many times we wishing it wanted. It's not going to happen. Pure point blank. There is no naturally born male will ever have children. The only time a male, quote unquote, will have children if that male, quote unquote, is still a naturally born female. So it's not really a male. Other than that, that's not going to happen. So the man cheating with the woman ain't got shit to do with the fact of the matter is that maybe or maybe not the child is mine. Almost if not all the time, it's going to find out the mother's definitely the mother's child. But what about the child? That is that my child? Is this dude's child? I knew there's something about you I didn't really trust, even though you was at home every day, on time every time. You made my food. The sex thing was okay, but there's something you're not giving me more. You're not giving me what I'm wanting though. We're supposed to be 100% for both of us, but you only give me 80%. Where's the other 20% coming from? So I'm just saying though, man. I mean, it's a good subject though. It's a good subject. It's a good subject. You know, like I said, I seen the other reaction through YouTube people before, especially the Paul Man's podcast. You know what I'm saying? Podcast though. You know what I'm saying? So I seen on that one, but you know, you made some good points too. But you know, I had to watch the whole thing, and you know what I'm saying, and you know, get my point, pay my point. You know, but like I said, me personally, mandatory DNA testing, I give that one 2 thumbs up. All right, people. Well, I want to end it right here, and tune in for my podcast. What should be done today? If I might have to do a solo, maybe not. I do not know, but I'll see y'all later. Oh, by the way, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and also subscribe to the Traveling Vegan Academy website for articles, probos, um, articles, probos, writing services, and product, and you know, um, they tell you about the products, our sponsored products. All right, people. I'll see you later.